Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Erin DeRusco. Welcome to Menopause Chats. I am excited to have my friend Kat joining us today. So please welcome Kat and tell us a little bit about where you are in your journey.
Yes. So first of all, Erin, I'm so glad you're doing this. We should all talk more about menopause because we're not crazy. We're just half of the population going through a hormonal change, right? And I'm postmenopausal. And when you told me that you were going to do this, I was like, that is so good. I want to support you. I want everybody to just, blow the taboo apart that surrounds menopause. So so what do you want me to talk about? So I'm postmenopausal. I am on a steady, good rhythm again with my life. Everything feels in balance and I feel fit and healthy and high energy. And so
So
I'm,
I love this because you're coming from the like, I'm in the after and
yeah.
I'm in the water and it's very warm and lovely. So what was it like before you got to this point?
Well, what was interesting for me is, that when I went through that whole change, I just suddenly felt low energy. I felt, emotional. I felt rage and but it was hard to know what's what because I was also a, professional woman traveling internationally and having a lot of jet lag. I was putting kids into college and stressing about the money situation there and where they're going to end up. And I was also, having a mom that was having real health issues and, lived on another continent. So, and I think that's very common at that time in someone's life is that there's all this going on and you're just super busy and then you don't know what's what. Was it the jet lag or was it that I'm worrying about the kids and my parents or is it, is it yeah, so that was a confusing time. It was very emotional in a lot of ways.
And I know you, we've talked about this before, but I know for you, you're not normally someone who's angry or, I experience you as someone very delightful. I enjoy your company. You're normally pretty upbeat, but you've shared with me that you had some rage.
Yeah, there's really two things that really surprised me about menopause. And one thing was rage, because yes, I consider myself well, I feel I'm blessed with a very, positive constitution. I'm pretty upbeat and so it was really interesting when I, suddenly, found myself yelling at a parking lot attendant who gave me a fine that I felt was unjustified. And I found myself yelling at the top of my lungs at this poor person. But like, it was like, I was having this out of body experience, observing myself yelling at this person, like full of rage. And it's going, at the same time, I'm observing myself. And at the same time, like another part of me is going, what's going on? That's really me. Why am I like that? And so I think that was very clearly menopause. I mean, it was hormonal. Um, and then the other thing that also was really kind of that really bothered me is that I would suddenly find like clumps of hair in the shower. Not clumps, but like, oh my gosh, I was shedding like crazy. And I started to like really thin out hair here and here. And I was going, oh gosh, I'm going bald. That's horrible. I think we identify ourselves so much with hair and with how we look. And, I never thought I did so much that was such a big part of me. But still, I was like, when I started losing, thinning hair, it was really shocking. The good news here for everybody, okay? Like if anybody here is experiencing hair loss, it's like it's totally stabilized. I'm fine. Like I'm not balding, but I was really worried that I did. And I didn't really feel comfortable telling my friends, like, hey, are you so? Yeah, it was just like there's this like it's a very silent time. Like we're going through it very silently. And that shouldn't be the case at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about all parts of my body on this because I think people, need to hear these things, right? And it's funny because when I reflect back, 'cause I'm also postmenopausal, but when I was reflecting back of like I've always had a lot of hair, and so I've always, especially when my hair's long, I always end up, even when I was younger, like just my hair just always all over the place. One time my hair actually made it to England before I ever made it to England. A friend of mine was traveling and my hair, because it just falls out, was like in their luggage. And they're like, oh, by the way, found one of your hairs today. But probably during the period where I was probably most perimenopausal and just didn't realize it, I was like losing a lot of hair, like a lot more hair than normal. And I'm just like, oh, is this
Yeah.
like, and I thought maybe it was dietary. It was during COVID time. So also like, is it related to the pandemic? I don't know. Because it wasn't on my radar to think that it could have been related to menopause at all. Like it just wasn't anything. And my doctors weren't talking to me about it. So I'm like, all right, and now in hindsight, I was like, oh yeah, probably wasn't dietary. It was probably because
You
again,
know what?
I'm back to my normal amount of shedding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. And that's another thing when you just said like your doctor wasn't telling you. It's like that. I find that shocking. And I have a female physician. We talked about it. It's like that's weird, and it's such a normal change that half the population goes through, you know.
And here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, so that's kind of my thing. And then I have a friend who but I did good. I did not have, a lot of hot flashes. I had some, but not like, oh my gosh, some poor women and some poor friends of mine really had it. But I had a very trim, fit friend who had such bad hot flashes, she couldn't even sleep anymore. She was just constantly like, and so she finally decided to go on hormone replacement therapy and blimped out like crazy. It was like weird to see my very trim friend suddenly like, but she said she'll take that anytime
Mm.
over the hot flashes. And it's like, okay, just do what you got to do. It's like, I don't think there's a hard and fast rule about what you should and should not do. It's like, it's your own body.
Yeah, that's what I feel. It's like it's your personal decision. Consult a professional
Yeah, for
who,
sure.
who is
Yes.
informed around menopause care.
Yes,
And
exactly.
also, it's a personal decision. Like even my practitioner, we had a long discussion, not related, sort of related, but not related to menopause, like of, my cholesterol's a little bit high. Like, do I go on a statin? Do I not go on a statin? But we had a conversation about it. And I did go see a cardiologist and I spoke with him about it as well. And he also was like, it's up to you. And here's the side effects and here's what it could be. And then I made an informed decision with my doctor of like, the side effects seem more worse than the
Yeah.
actual,
Yeah.
like, my number's pretty low. I eat fairly healthy. I manage my stress. I work out. Like, so it's like,
Yeah.
I think at this time I'm good.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
an informed decision versus I feel like sometimes my experiences in the past with, medical care is just like, you need to be on this prescription. Here it is. Like not a conversation, just a choice. I think I don't remember if I've told this on here or not, but I had like years ago had was having, and now in hindsight probably was related to menopause or perimenopause and just hormonal changes. My skin of like and like my vagina was like really was getting dry and irritated, especially if it was like around my cycle. So I was still having a period at this time, or like, light period because I have an IUD. But I had gone and talked to her and she was like, because of course, it wasn't presenting itself when I went in for an appointment. And she was just like, "Oh, you have herpes." And I was like,
Oh, really?
"I don't think so." I was like, "I'd be surprised if I did." And she's like, "No, absolutely. It sounds like you have herpes. Like you need to go get tested for herpes." So I was like, "Fine, I'll go get tested for herpes." It was negative. It's like I knew it wasn't that, but like she was so, like I feel like sometimes it's like there's these boxes I'm looking for to check, and if and what you just told me checks all the boxes, so therefore it is this. And
Yeah.
maybe 9 times out of 10 she's right. But for me, I was like, no, like I'm based on my lifestyle, and like I don't think that's the case. But I went got the test and it was fine. And they ended up treating it as if it was like eczema because I also have that. But like, so they were treating it like it was that and real or like a dermatitis or something, right? When really, I honestly think if they would have put me on like an estrogen cream or
Mm-hmm.
or what I'm on now, which is an estrogen and testosterone cream, it would have been different. It
Mm-hmm.
probably was that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting. I was in Florida a little while ago and going down a highway in Florida, and it was kind of depressing because it was like, oh, kidney dialysis center and, like wheelchairs, and like it made me feel so old. All the ads were about medical issues people have, older people have. And one of them was like, I mean, not one of them, like many of them were like erectile dysfunction, erectile dysfunction. And I'm like, okay, that's all about guys. Where's the menopausal women at? Like there, and I just find there's such a lack of balance in terms of information for men's health versus women's health. And I have a friend who is a nurse, and she came home super upset the other day, where she was like, oh, I spent a whole day at the women's health conference, and there were only about 5% male doctors. And she says, if when you go to a men's health, like all the women in physicians and nurses are, supposed to attend, and it's never just like there's such an imbalance between who attends. Men, guys like don't seem to go to women's health conferences, but women are expected to go to men's related health conferences. There's like an imbalance.
Yeah, and like, what do you do, right? Like, it's like they're invited.
Right. And then they just didn't even show up. She was really, really frustrated about that.
Do you have any advice for women who are just starting their like perimenopause, menopause journey?
Yeah, the advice. I think the advice is, you know, maybe if you can, slow down, slow down.
Mm.
Like nature, I'm in nature, exercise, be gentle with yourself, trust that, like me, it's really good on the other side of it. Like literally, like my energy came back. If anybody feels like their energy is all over the place, your energy will come back too and stabilize. And I'm a long-term meditator. And so I found that, after the rage incident, I would go home and I would sit on my pillow and go, let's just kind of let go of that if possible, right? So I think those are just, and eating as healthy as possible, which is hard, right? Because when you have rage or these strong emotions or you're exhausted, it's sometimes a glass of red wine seems easier than having a really nutritious meal.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
for me, it's like wanting ice cream or chips or something. Everybody has their thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what do you hope that women will take away from like your hearing your story?
Well, just hope that, this thing about stabilized energy that comes back again. Um, and talk about it with your friends. Don't wait for them to bring it up. You bring it up.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be talked about.
Yeah, and I think I mean, that was part of my purpose of starting this, right? Is like, let's just get the conversation out there. Like
Yes,
people start
yes.
talking about it. And, and even my friend Carrie, who I interviewed, a few episodes ago, mentioned like she's 10 years younger than I am. So she's like, I'm just starting this process and I know more about it because I have, what she called intergenerational friends, right? Like I have friends that, are of different ages, and that's
Yeah.
helped me know like, oh yeah, this thing's happening, or I should think about that. So even when I'm talking to people who are much younger than me, who aren't, this isn't even on their radar yet, I'm always like, no, like this is what it will be like, and it's okay. I am really hopeful for the younger generation because I do think there are more people talking about it now than there were when I was their age. I'm talking about people in their mid to late 20s. So it's nice that, so maybe they'll have a different experience because, people like us are having conversations that are accessible to them, or other celebrities that are having conversations. So bringing it into a bigger spotlight. So
Yeah, and and one thing that I also I don't know if that's come up in other people you've talked with, but often when women go through menopause, suddenly they become more creative.
Mm,
Suddenly they start painting or pottery, or suddenly there's also a really positive aspect of going like entering this other new phase of your life, like creativity and adventure, and like there's it's like, and I think I'm much more comfortable in my skin now than, I mean, I was always confident and cocky, but like now I'm just like really just more really comfortable in my skin in a more settled, quieter way, I
yeah.
think. And it feels nice.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I feel like what I wished I could tell my younger self is like, don't
Mm,
worry about
yeah.
cellulite on your thighs. Like, don't worry about, like really no one cares. I really believe that probably nobody really cares but me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so, it's so much more freeing to just be like, this is who I am. And, and if you don't like it, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that that is a message that I wish my younger self would hear. I don't know if my younger self would have listened to me, but I do think that it is I would like to, I, in hindsight, would like to have had the same confidence I had then, or I have now then.
Oh, you know what? I think a difference is in confidence, a shift is that when I was younger, I had like a proving, needing to prove kind of confidence, like, like, and now it's more of I don't have to prove myself.
Right. Yeah.
And we're kind of, I mean, I feel I entered my wisdom years and it's lovely.
Yeah.
I'm fully embracing that. And the whole thing about, aging and accepting aging, it's like we'll never look younger than today.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I think of like, oh, I wasted so much time worrying about how I looked, and I looked way better then, or a little better. It depended on when, because frankly, my
Yeah.
weight has fluctuated over time. But, still, what wasted energy?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And
So
what? Like I was thinking, oh, what could I have done if I wasn't worrying about that, if I wasn't using the brain space to worry about that?
yeah, it's such a waste of energy. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So, don't be silent about the menopause.
Yeah.
Silence is worse than the actual symptoms.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I think we should end there.
Yeah, good.
Like sometimes is worse. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kat. I appreciate you being a guest and
Yeah.
dog. And again, thank you for joining us. Please, if you're interested in, please share, please, comment, please like. If you're interested in being a guest, there is my link tree is in my bio, and I would love to have you on. So if you're a midlife lady, going through perimenopause, menopause, would love to interview you. I think everybody's stories are super important. And thank you for listening.